Hello, and welcome to Mandarin Slang Guide, MSG, the podcast that tastes great and probably isn't all that bad for you. I'm your host, Joshua Ogden Davis, and it's my job to bring you all those wonderful, delicious, tasty Chinese slang words that you won't find in your textbook. Today we're going to talk about some internet slang. Just like in English, Chinese is getting more and more internet slang words that mean something very different online than they do in real life, and they can be very confusing if you don't know about them. So today we're going to talk about three of them. They are 666, 雨女无瓜, and 我suānle. Now, if you already know what these mean, then congratulations, because I didn't know when we started recording this. So to kick things off, my friend Avers is here.
Hi, Josh.
And we are going to read a conversation that has these words. Listen up and see if you can understand what's going on. 我买新手机啦
666
你用什么手机
与女无瓜
我买了iPhone 11
我酸了
So, did you get all that? If you didn't, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it in a minute. But first, let's have a little chat with our guest about language. Avers, why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Avers. I'm a translator. I work at Nike.
I'm curious, for you as a translator, what's the hardest part about translating between Chinese and English?
Well, for me, the hardest part is how to keep my translation short and simple, but also at the same time not to make sure not to miss anything. Like sometimes you add a few words that wasn't there in the original text, and sometimes you delete some words. So it's like all these little decisions you have to make that I find really challenging.
What are some of the hardest things to translate from Chinese into English?
I think it would be some 4-character idioms.
4-character idioms known as 成语.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give an example?
Yeah, like 过河拆桥.
过河拆桥.
The literal meaning 过河 means to cross a river, and 拆桥 means to tear a bridge down. So together it means after you cross the bridge, you just tear the bridge down. Just 4 character.
Yeah.
But if you're going to say English, it's going to be way longer.
It's similar to the English burning your bridges, but you can't always use it in the same context.
Yeah.
So if you want to explain that idea in English, you have to use a whole sentence, whereas in Chinese, it was literally a half inch of paper.
Yeah.
过河拆桥. And that's a great segue into what we're going to be talking about today, because the conversation that you heard at the beginning of this podcast includes some internet idioms that are very compact, very short in Chinese, but have a lot of meaning to them. So let's go back through that conversation and explain these words one by one. So first, Avers, why don't you give me the first line? What was it?
我买新手机了
So 我 is me, 买 is buy, 新 is new, and 手机 is phone, cell phone.
Yeah.
And 了 sort of makes it past tense. So 我买新手机了 I bought a new phone. Yeah. And how did you reply to me?
I said 666.
Yeah, this is a crazy one because what does 666 mean literally?
It means 666.
Yeah, which is crazy as a foreigner when someone replies with 666, because that in the Bible, that is the number of the beast. That means Satan. But what does 666 mean in Chinese?
Well, in Chinese, it actually means, well, that's awesome. Dope.
Yeah. So how did 666 come to mean? How did 666 come to mean awesome in Chinese?
Well, I think it's originally from people who play video games. Like when you're making an awesome kill and your teammates would just say, 666, that's dope. Like 6 is, it has a similar pronunciation as the Chinese character 六, which means working smoothly.
So you're saying smooth. But but for, like you mentioned, playing games, it's faster to hit the number 6
than it
is to type out Liu and find the correct character. So what other kind of things would make you say 666?
Well, I can say 我终于放假了
666! Yeah. So that's 我 is me. 终于 is finally. And 放假 is...
day off.
Yeah, go on holiday. You have a day off. 我终于放假了
666.
Nice. What else?
I could also say, like, when you're watching a football game, and I would say 球进了
球进了, 球is ball, and 进 is go in, and 了 is past tense. So it's literally just the ball goes in, goal! So I say, 球进了!
666.
Nice, nailed it. So that's 666, which don't freak out if someone sends you a text message that says 666. They're not calling you Satan. They're probably paying you a compliment or congratulating you on something. Okay, so back to the conversation. The second sentence that I said was...
你用什么手机?
你用什么手机?你 is you, 用 is use, 什么 is what, or which in this case, and 手机 is phone. So, 你用什么手机? You use what phone? What phone do you use?
你用什么手机?
And you replied...
雨女无瓜.
Yeah, so 雨女无瓜, what do these 4 characters literally mean?
Well, 雨 is rain, 女 is daughter, and 无 is no. 瓜 is melon.
So, rain daughter, no melon.
It doesn't make any sense
It
at
makes
all.
no sense. And by the way, 女 is also the word that means just female or woman in general. But in this context, it's often interpreted as daughter. So, what do you mean, Avers, when I ask what kind of phone you use and you say, rain daughter has no melon? What does that mean? What are you doing?
Well, this idiom is actually come from a Chinese cartoon.
Okay.
So, a character in this cartoon has very strong Taiwanese accent.
Ah.
So, when he said 与女无瓜, he actually means 与你无关.
与你无关?
Yeah,
and
which
what does that
means
mean?
none of your business.
Yeah, 与你无关. 与 is a sort of formal version of with.
Yeah.
你 is you. 无 is no. And 关 is short for 关系, which means relationship. So 与你无关, it has nothing to do with you. But when he says it with a strong accent, it sounds like
与女无瓜.
So that's the kind of thing that the first time I saw it, me as a foreigner had absolutely no way to figure out what these 4 characters mean, because I know all 4 of those characters, rain, woman, no melon. But even knowing the names, even knowing the meanings of the characters does not help me at all in finding out what it means, unless I know that extra cultural step of that comes from a cartoon, the guy with the funny accent. So what other things would cause you to say 与女无瓜 to me?
Well, I can ask you, 你周末干嘛了?
与你无瓜. 你 is you.
Yeah.
周末 is weekend. And 干嘛 is like, what's up? What are you doing? So, 你周末干嘛了 means, what did you do on the weekend?
与女无瓜.
Okay, fine. If you don't want to talk about it, don't worry about it.
Or I can ask you, 你工资多少?
与你无瓜. Yeah, so, 你工资多少? 你 is you. 工资 is
salary.
And 多少 is how much. So how much do you get paid?
与女无瓜.
Okay, I'm sorry I asked. Okay, so that's the second part of the conversation. The third part of the conversation, what was that?
我买了iPhone 11.
我买了iPhone 11. 我 is me. 买了, that's bought. iPhone, 11 is 11. So I bought an iPhone 11.
我买了iPhone 11.
And your reply was?
我酸了.
我酸了. So what does that literally mean? 我酸了.
It means I'm sour.
I would never have guessed. You seem very sweet. So what do you mean when you say that you're sour?
So in Chinese, when we use the word sour, we actually want to express the feeling of jealous. So by saying 我酸了, I mean I'm jealous of you.
Okay. So 我买了iPhone 11. I bought an iPhone 11.
我酸了.
I'm jealous of that. What else would make you say 我酸了?
Well, so if my friends are going to a movie and they invite me to come with, but I have to work overtime, so I would say 我酸了,我要加班.
我酸了,我要加班. Yeah, so I'm jealous, and then 我要加班. I must 加班,
overtime.
Work overtime, yeah. Now, 我要加班, 要 is often translated as want to.
Yeah.
But in many cases, it means I will or I must. So 我要加班 means doesn't mean I want to work overtime.
But I have
it means
to.
I have to work overtime.
Yeah.
我今天要加班. Today I have to 加班. So Avers, 我要看电影啦.
我酸了,我要加班.
Yeah, so these are the 3 slang words that we have for you, often used on the internet as a reply. The first one was 666, which means
It's awesome. Dope.
Yeah, the second one is 雨女无瓜.
None of your business.
None of your business. And the last one is 我suānle, which means
I'm jealous.
I'm jealous. Let's do that conversation one more time. See if you can follow everything that's happening. Here we go. Avers, 我买新手机了。
666.
你用什么手机？
雨女无瓜。
我买了iPhone 11。
我酸了。
I don't actually have an iPhone 11.
I know you don't.
Don't be swan, Avers.
I'm not swan at all.
Thank you again, Avers, for helping me run through all these words for our listeners. And I have one more question for you before you go. And that question is, you are someone who has learned English extremely well, to the point where you can do it as your job. So what's your number one tip for someone who's trying to do the opposite of what you've done? What's your number one tip for someone learning Chinese?
Well, for people who are learning Chinese, I would say I would recommend to register a social media platform.
Really?
A social media account.
Oh, you can make a platform too if you want. I mean, it's highly lucrative in this day and age. But why would you recommend that?
I mean, you can post everything in Chinese, and gradually you'll find yourself more and more confident to express in this language.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true. Every time that you use it, you get more comfortable with it. And on social media, you can use it whenever you want to.
Yeah.
And I have found that if I make one mistake, I will have 1 million people. That's an exaggeration. I don't have 1 million fans. I will have literally 3 or 4 people who will be very excited to jump out and correct my Chinese.
Yeah.
So social media is a great opportunity for that. Yeah, that's an excellent piece of advice, Avers.
Thank you.
So that's it for this episode of MSG, Mandarin Slang Guide. If you have any questions, or if you have any slang that you want us to cover on the show, or if you want to be on the show, I'm always looking for more people to interview, send us a message. The contact information is in the show notes. I want to thank Himalaya and Himalaya for their great support in the development of this podcast. I want to thank you for listening, and I want to thank Avers for being here. Thank you, Avers.
Thank you, Josh, for having me.
It's my pleasure. All right, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.